Welcome to Down in the Den. It's your boy Mars, aka Marlon Beardo, the bearded weirdo, the Stella Rosa Casanova, the creator of culture, and the Should Knight of this podcast game. I am joined today by a phenomenal artist. Man, he has bars on bars on bars. He's a true creative, and I am honored to welcome Julian Argo to the Den. Brother, how are you doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you feeling? What's going on, man? How are you hanging today?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm much appreciative, man. Thank you for having me on, Mars. It's good to be down in the den. You know what I'm saying? So everything is good, though. Everything is good. How about yourself? How you feeling, man?
And that's what I like to hear. I always say it's another day in paradise. I'm here above ground. Every day you wake up above ground is a victory. I'm talking to a very talented young artist like yourself. So, man, that's a big W for me, man. All W's all around.
Word.
Absolutely. So, one question that we start every single episode with is our tradition. I grew up loving two things more than anything in this world: music and comic books. And all of my favorite superheroes always had an extraordinary origin story. So when I started doing this, I said, man, I really want to know what creatives, what's their origin story? Because I feel creatives are modern day superheroes. They create whole universes in their music and their art. And that's as close as we're going to get to an Avenger on this planet. So I ask you, what's your origin story? What triggered you to say, this is my path? I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to create. I'm going to make something out of nothing and make these universes, paint these pictures with my music. What's your origin story?
Well, it's I wouldn't say it's anything unique, but just like growing up, riding around with my pops, he would always play like a lot of like like the booty shake music, you know what I'm saying? Like in the,
Yeah.
like the Uncle Luke's and stuff like that. And then it kind of transitioned to
Come
like
around.
vocals and harmony, you know what I'm saying? And the Fugees and things like that. And he always, you know what I'm saying, had a lot of like early Def Jam, you know what I'm saying, playing in the car and things like that. And as I got older, music has just been one of those things that's always held me down. You know what I'm saying? I'm an only child. So like I would be off in my own world. And a lot of the times I would just be listening to music. You know what I'm saying? I always say that without music, I probably wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? So music for me is one of those things that while I'm not like classically trained with no kinds of instruments or things like that, it's something that's always kind of like piqued my interest and something that's always had, a stronghold on my life. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Absolutely. No, it's the one thing that brings us all together, no
Right on.
matter your background, your country, your state, your affiliation, your religion, sexuality, whatever it may be. We can all find a unifying force in music. And I think that's why it's such a powerful tool for that. Now, for those who aren't familiar with your music, what would you describe your sound and your artistic identity to someone who's never heard you? They're walking in this store. I'm aging myself because no one actually walks in the store to buy music, but they're walking in the store, they're pulling your CD, and they're looking at the cover, and they're like, I wonder what this sounds like. Without hearing you, how would you describe your artistic identity?
Very introspective, very reflective. I like to put a lot of my life into the music. I don't really like to lie about anything or fabricate anything. So I try to give people the real authentic me at all times. So you're gonna hear a lot of introspection, a lot of reflection, things like that. So yeah.
No caps in your raps. I love that. That's
Word.
and I always say Kanye was one of the first artists that could rap about working at the Gap, and we're banging our head to it, which proves that we don't have to be the same. We don't have. That's what makes us unique. The different stories that we all have. So I love that. Walk us through your creative process, because as a fellow creative, I always find there's some similarities, and this is another question that we ask a lot. Walk us through your creative process. How does the track go from idea to finished song?
So before I started, like, I don't make all of my beats, but before I started making beats and rapping to some of my own beats, I would typically get on YouTube. This was I was rapping when it wasn't really cool to rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Back when I was in high school, people was like, "Oh, you a rapper?" You know what I'm saying? So like I'd be on YouTube listening to Ninth Wonder, listening to Jay Dilla, and then you know what I'm saying, just writing verses here and there. I couldn't afford no studio like consistently. So I went and I kind of like bought my mic and just learned how to record myself over time. And so like from start to finish back then, it was more so just kind of write the rap, record the song. But nowadays it's like I gotta feel it. I spend a lot more time listening through beats instead of just trying to like write to everything. I mean, I probably should be doing it the same way, but like as I've gotten older, I don't want to waste no bars. I don't want to waste no breath, no words. So I'm very intentional when I sit down to write nowadays. Like something got to really spark the beat, got to really spark me, or either I got to be sitting there making a beat and I'm like, nah, I got to get something off to this. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like to play around and you know, fuddy duddy with this shit. This, you know what I'm saying, to put it frank. I just like to really take my time and be really intentional. If I can get 2 bars into a song, if I ain't fucking with it, it's getting scrapped. Like it's over. So yeah.
I feel you. Now, every season we have a different theme. Last year, last season, the theme was AI because it's taken over. And it seems that it split the music world in two. And I'm a firm believer, and this is my personal belief, that you have to get in front of technology and not run from it.
Word.
Because it's coming regardless. You can stand, I always give the analogy of Blockbuster Video, which someone your age probably don't even know what Blockbuster Video is.
I definitely used to be in Blockbuster, renting games, renting movies, all that.
But for those who know Blockbuster, it was the ish.
For sure.
A long time. Friday night, going to Blockbuster, getting a new game, and that nothing better. Exactly. And Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix. Netflix came here. We have this idea. We'll ship people the DVDs. And Blockbuster laughed at them. They said, nobody's ever going to have DVDs shipped to their house. That's stupid. And now Blockbuster doesn't exist. And Netflix is one of the biggest corporations that ever existed. And that's because they ran toward technology and didn't run away from it. So I ask you, what are your views on AI? Because I personally feel it's a tool that's, with any tool used properly, it's genius.
For sure.
Any tool used incorrectly can be horrible. But that's with regular music as well. Traditionally, how many music someone took a DAT machine and made a horrible beat and horrible right? So good music is good music, bad music, bad music. So I say this to say this: what is your view on AI, and is it truly the future and a tool that all artists should be at least embracing and getting familiar with, or is it something that you feel is very destructive for the music industry?
I think it's kind of like, twofold. I was actually speaking about this in another interview, and basically I'm not 100% against it. I'm not 100% for it. I mean, I think a lot of what you said in the question, kind of answered how I feel about it. I mean, you kind of got to get with the times, you know what I'm saying? You got to adapt or get left behind. I've used it to make like an album cover. I use AI to kind of like bounce ideas off sometimes, not to like write the bars for me, but it's like, yo, I can't think of a topic, you know what I'm saying? Or I can't get past a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as having, being in a studio session with 5-6 other songwriters in there. You know what I'm saying?
Off each other.
Yeah. Like, so I think that there is like you said, a space for it if you can use it with intention and you can use it in a positive light, and it adds to the process. But I think a lot of people rely maybe too much on it. I can definitely see where a lot of people could rely on it for actual bars or rely on it, way too much. I think it's something that we should embrace though. And that goes way past music. AI has helped automate a lot of systems. It's not stopping anything that wasn't already in place anyway. You know what I'm saying? Robots taking over, people, a lot of things are going towards automation, and it's causing people to, kind of lose their jobs and things like that. But I think as humans, we'll always find a way to prevail until we can't, if that makes sense. So I think AI is one of them things that, it might give a voice to a young lady who can't sing, but she's got fire ideas. She's got a fire pen, but she just can't sing. So, AI could help in that facet. So I think it has a lot of benefits. I think it has a lot of detriments. It's just like you were saying about how you use it, for sure.
Yep. And like I said, you can build a house with a hammer, or you can build a coffin with a hammer. It's still a hammer.
Word.
What are you doing with it? So I agree with that 100%. And at the end of the day, if you're pen gaming, because I can't speak for the future, but I can tell you now, if you go into one of these GPTs and tell you to write a song, it's going to be trash. it's going to be trash because it's not a human. It doesn't have those experience. But if you say, I got this bar, give me 6 bars that, to formulate the idea, it's no different than music. It's a collaborative experience. So I tell people the best music, you have a song maker, you have a producer, you have the artist, and everybody working in sync tends to have the best result. Now, you've been out there performing, man. Like I said, I do my homework when we have a new D.E.N mate on the show, and how are those experiences? Because there was a point when we were doing this show, we were in the heart of the pandemic, so nobody was performing, nobody could go out, everybody was just kind of locked in their own studio or own head. Now you're out there performing shows, Brooklyn, Houston, all over. What's been the most memorable experience out there, getting out there and seeing the people, touching the people, feeling that in real time, which is something I feel can't be replaced. You're getting that feedback in real time. How's that experience been out for you?
I think live performances always is going to have a space in music. I think live music is brilliant. It's an experience that you can't replace. I enjoy performing live just because it has to keep me on my toes. Like, you have to, it's one thing to write the song, but it's another thing to like live within the song. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that I see on stage, like, they perform their songs and they don't feel lived in. You know what I'm saying? You can really tell who don't put the practice time in. Like, it's just like if you was on the basketball court, like, you got to practice, you got to put up reps. So like, I think performing live is just another way to put in those reps. Like, it's been plenty of times where, I'm on stage and people are just kind of like, look like, but then afterwards you get to talking to them. They like, yo, that was dope. Like, you was up there killing it. But it's like, you left them kind of like stuck. They ain't know how to perceive you. They like, what is going on? And I think that, a lot of the times when I've went to live shows, it's like, yeah, you feeling the music, but if that artist is powerful enough, you'll stand there mesmerized, like, yo,
yeah,
that's actually such and such on stage. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and so like, I think that live performances really put your catalog to the test, and they put you to the test as an artist. Like, it's one thing, like, to get in the booth and rap, but like, do you have breath control? Can you keep the same cadences? Can you do all of the things that you did on the record live? Can you add to the record live? Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate live performances and actually knowing their songs. A lot of people perform over the lyrics. Like, why?
I hate
you should know your raps. Like, you should know the song.
I could just listen to it on my headphones. If you're going to rap over your own lyrics, it's going to sound better because it's not a weird, strange echo. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it's 2 different elements. I call them studio rappers, and they're called live rappers. And you can't just stand there with a mic and a stool and rap. You have to have that breath control. You have to know your lyrics. You have to know your song. You have to know when to improvise. And that can't be replaced. That's something that can never be artificial. It's something that you have to go out there and put your 10,000 hours to become a truly, truly great performer. Now, it was 2026. You had a big year in 2025. 2026, you jumped off Skin Freestyle. Dope. I was talking to you about that before we started recording. Bars on bars on bars. What can we look forward from Julian 2026? It's February? Yeah, still February. Black History Month, still February. What can we look for the rest of the year? What's the plan going forward?
Definitely more singles. I definitely want to perform more this year. Definitely an album coming. That's already done. So just a lot more music. I want to challenge myself to put out more music this year. I think it's weird. Like, when I create, I've noticed that like odd number years, or usually like where I would put out a lot of music, and last year wasn't one. So it's kind of strange. So I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't right. So this year I want to put out more music. I want to release more music. I want to do a lot more features. I want to collaborate with more people this year. I want to step off in some rooms that I ain't never been in, even if it's just to be a fly on the wall. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to be in some rooms with some people and, you know, rubbing some shoulders with some people and kind of just collaborate more. So I think that's the plan for this year.
Absolutely. That's a perfect segue into my next question. Because I always like the perspective of collaborating. I always say some of my favorite songs are when artists come together, and some of my really favorite songs are when artists come together from different walks, different platform. Are there any other genres that you would love to collaborate or experiment in? We're seeing a lot of, you know, hip hop and country all of a sudden. You're seeing a lot of in my time period in the late 90s, hip hop and rock were married at the hip when you had Jay-Z dropping albums with Linkin Park, and it was like, you know, it grew both audiences. And I don't think we see that as much anymore. And it's something that I really, just as a fan, not only as a creative or podcast host, but just as a fan, are there any other genres that you would be interested in working with, or any other artists from another genre that you would be interested in collaborating with?
Honestly, I've been listening to a lot of like Afro beats and like the dembo type of, like, you know what I'm saying, like the Latin vibe. So I would love to do something on either one of them ends of that spectrum. They just got a whole different bounce that I feel like as a rapper, you can catch some of them pockets, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? I might not speak the same language. I might be on a record with somebody who, you know, it's a Spanish record, but I come on there and I'm carrying some of them pockets and I'm, you know, barring people to death. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that you can make some magic with that. So I think that'll probably be where I would want to collaborate.
Absolutely. And that would be killer. And we just saw Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, biggest sing Super Bowl. I couldn't understand one word he was saying, but I was bopping. You know, I was bopping. The music is a feeling. So I think that's something that a lot of artists need to kind of just span. You can't just bar. We love it. But if you want to get out there to a global versus local or national audience, and there's a big world out there that's thirsty for what we have to offer, because we're still, no matter what, we're still the leaders in culture. And I always say African Americans lead the world, follows us. They look for what we're going to do, and then they, you know, put their own spin of it, but they look for what we're going to do. So it's only right that we get back and dip in and get some of those revenues from what we created. Now,
come back to the source, man. You know, black is power. You know what I'm saying? They got to come back to us.
If you want to be hot, you got to come back to the pot. And this is the pot right here in this country. Now, what drives you on the tougher days? Because sometimes as a creative, you just want to sit. You don't want to do anything. It gets burned out because we're giving so much of our life to the music or to whatever we're creating. What drives you on those tough days when creativity feels blocked, the pen is just dry, and it feels like motivation dips? What's something that keeps you saying, you know what, nah, let me pick this pen up, let me listen to these beats, let me surf, let me keep grinding? Because it can get tough as the life of a creative. They always say starving artists. It can be tough to get out there and get in front of those global audiences, especially when you're independent, or especially when you want to keep your integrity more important. So what motivates you on those droughts?
Man, I tell you, Mars, today was one of them days where I woke up and I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't feeling life. So I think a lot for me to keep going is remember that I do have a life. Remember that there are other things and other interests. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love skateboarding. I love cars, you know, car culture, racing culture, things like that. So actually just going and living a little bit. You know what I mean? I used to beat myself up over it. Like, man, I ain't writing a verse today. I ain't do nothing music related today. And it's like, sometimes you have to step back. So maybe you use them days where you're not motivated as an admin day. Hey, let me make sure all of my, you know, files are organized. Let me go back and delete, you know, let me go back and listen to something old that maybe I didn't finish. So, I mean, for me, I think reading, you know what I'm saying? As I've gotten older, I find that you got to just go and live a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you love music and when you're in tune with music, you're a student of the game, it's always going to be there. The pen is going to always be there, no matter the blockage. But you just got to find something else to distract your mind off of being in your own head. You know what I'm saying? You got to jump out of your own head doing something else, whether it be jump on the highway and just go drive, go wash the car. You know what I'm saying? Like read a book, you know, go play with my dog or something. Like I try not to beat myself up as much as I used to if I can't crank a record out, or if I can't write a verse, or if I get halfway through a verse and I scrap it. Like I don't get mad at myself no more, because I know that my intentions are good and my intentions are pure with my music and how I want to deliver myself to the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. We used to have a segment a couple of seasons ago, and it was called "What's in Your iPod?" Nobody has an iPod anymore, so I asked you, what's in your music self, or what's 3 or 4 artists that are you bumping right now that you're just finding are nourishing you as far as what you need when it comes to music?
Hit Boy is one of them. Currency is another. I was just in the gym listening to Joe Budden. Man, I can sit here,
Father, because a lot of people don't know about Joe Budden. This youngers think he's just the angry dude that hates everything on the podcast. Budden had bars that he's a lot of your favorite rappers' favorite rapper. So I just want to throw that out there
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much listen to a wide array of things. Like, you know, growing up skateboarding and growing up watching skate videos, it kind of opened me up to like rock and roll, metal, you know, things like that. So what's in my iPod, just hit shuffle, and I guarantee you're gonna hear something you ain't never heard before. You're gonna be like, hey, listen to that. You know what I'm saying? What you got going on? So I listen to a lot of different music, spanning genres. We could go all day.
Yo, hey, you and I right here. I always say you grab my iPod. One day you might see Rakim in the next day. You be like, "Is that Britney Spears Toxic?" And I'm like, "Yo,
for sure,
this is crazy though."
For sure,
you can find influences in every single thing, and I think that gives you a lot more legway to write about other things, where you don't have to rely on a lot of the troops and tropes that we see. You know, I sell drugs, I kill people, I fuck hoes. You know, that for so long, that was all hip hop was about. And it gets old because, you know, that's not the life that 99.9% of us actually live. You know, if you could write a dope bar about, damn, I did a great trick of the skate part. You know, I remember Lupe dropped Kick Push, and it blew my mind because I'm from Virginia Beach, you know, skateboard P. That's what we do here. We ride BMX, we go outside. So I'm like, damn, he did a song about skateboarding. That's dope. And you know, get out there and living is probably the best advice you can give to an aspiring artist. Yeah. So before I let you go, this season our theme is legacy. We've been doing this for 6 years. This is the last season of Down in the Den in this format. We're going to be doing something a little bit different starting next year, where we're actually going to the towns of these artists. And go to the town, and if it's 5 dope Philly artists, I'm going to have a nice little Airbnb. They come to the Airbnb, we chop it up in person. So this path that started at the pandemic of digital, we're going to be face to face. So I'm very excited for that. But as we end this show in this format, I wonder, legacy, what did we do over these last 6 years? And looking back, it really pleases me of what we did and the growth and so many artists. I remember we interviewed LaRussell when he first started, and now it was at the Super Bowl. That's dope. Black Odyssey when they first started, and now they're like working with Timbaland and doing European tours. So I love seeing the growth on these guys where they had, you know, 800 followers, and now, you know, they have 1 million followers. It's dope to me. So I ask you, 10 years from now, a decade from now, what would you like your legacy in music to be? What would you like people, and I know you'll still be going, but those first 10 years, what would you like people to look at and say, damn, Julian did this and that, or work with this? What would you like your legacy to be?
Word. First and foremost, congratulations. You know what I'm saying, on your platform growing and being able to go from a digital to a physical space. That's something large right there. You know what I'm saying? And even some of the names you dropped, that's really dope. So I hope that you know what I'm saying, when it comes to legacy, you keep this thing pushing for sure. Because
Yes,
that's some
sir.
dope,
Yes, sir.
you know what I'm saying? That's some dope leverage right there. But for me, I want them to be like, man, when he got on the mic, he gave us his life. He left it there. You know what I'm saying? I want people to be able to know exactly who I was through my music and through my brand and how I carry myself and who I am as an individual. So I think legacy for me is just one of those things that, you know, you can look at me as a reference. You know what I'm saying? Almost like how you said Joe Budden is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. I want them to look at Julian and be like, yo, that's my favorite rapper. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's somebody large saying that, like, yo, that's my favorite rapper right there. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to leave a legacy of authenticity, a legacy of like, yo, he was really himself and he didn't compromise his sound, his style, who he was. He ain't changed for nobody. So I think that's what legacy is for me.
Perfect answer, brother. I don't know if you've done media training yet, but you ready, man.
Nah.
Next level, man. Sometimes we get people, they're like, so salute. That shows that he reads books, ladies and gentlemen.
Word.
Pick up a book.
Nah, for sure.
So before we end the interview, we have a segment called 6 Shots to the Dome. 6 rapid fire questions, and not a lot of less than 6 seconds to think about it, but we're just going to give you 6 rapid fire questions. We just want to know from the heart what that feels. So number one artist you'd love to collaborate with.
Dom Kennedy.
One producer that fits your sound perfectly.
Hit Boy. No, I'm gonna change that. Let me change that. Sledgerin.
Okay. Favorite song you've ever created so far, and it doesn't even have to be released yet.
Miami Vice.
A lyric you wrote that still hits you.
It was a hook for a song that ain't out yet. I said 2 T's from the smoke shop for 10 beans. It was a real life thing. I went in and bought 2 T's from a smoke shop and told him, hey, look, all I got is 10. You gonna fuck with me? And he was like, yeah, I got you.
I love it. White tees come in handy sometimes.
Yeah, you feel me?
Studio at 3 a.m. or daytime session?
Daytime.
Yeah, me too. I need to be sleeping.
Sure.
I can't do it. I'm 40, so I can't do it at 3 a.m. Me and the Sandman need to be in a wrestling match. And my final question: fame or freedom?
Freedom.
All day. Freedom. Julian, 100%. I grade you 100%, brother. You have nothing but success. I'm a bit of a futurist, and I can see the future. And like I said, with your talent, your skill, your drive, no cap in your rap attitude, and you know the music, I believe you're going to be another artist that 3 years from now I could be like, yeah, you know that dude that just won the Grammy? Yeah, I interviewed him back in the day. You know, just a little feather by cap. So
nothing. We're gonna double back too. We're gonna do another one.
Double bet. Nothing but the best for you. Phenomenal. Please let the friends of the Den at home that are watching on YouTube or wherever you're watching, and those who are listening on the audio, please let them know where they can find you, your social media, and anything you want to promote that's coming out that you feel that people need to check out. Any shows, the floor is yours. You earned it. Go right ahead.
All right. Well, first and foremost, once again, thank you, Mars. Thank you for the fellow, D.E.N mates. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the platform and the opportunity. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Weezer, Pandora, all them joints at Julian Argo, Julian Argo. That's on YouTube as well. TLX music coming soon. You know what I mean? We're gonna have some physical copies. We always gonna be able to have it available digital. But that's pretty much what I got coming up, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, brother, man, nothing but success. We're going to add you. I have a excellent community and network. So we're going to add you into that network. I'll introduce you to the fellow Den mates. We have producers, musicians, artists. The whole thing about this show is community.
Word.
Because I could go into it, and I've talked about it before. Like I said, I'm a bit of a futurist. I predicted direct to consumer 3 years before it began. because I grew up in a generation where we went to the music store, we bought the CD, we looked at the liners, we listened to it in our Discman. You kids don't know what a Discman is. If you ain't have anti-skip, you won't. Anyway,
You know what I'm saying?
we really treasured the music, and I still have those CDs to this day. And being able to our artists to eat off of their creativity is one of the goals. So I will add you to our network. Welcome to the DenMate community. We're all about supporting each other, showing love, creating. And I think there's some artists that you would love to probably work with, collaborate with. And I wish you nothing but continued success. You're killing it right now. And I think it's just nothing but sunshine and puppy tails going forward for you, man. As long as you keep this attitude, there you go. I hear as long as you keep that attitude and the hunger that you have, and most importantly, you already have the insight to know sometimes you just got to take a drive, sometimes you just got to live to inspire. Those three things and keeping grounded, brother, is nothing but a grand future for you. So, man, congratulations on what you've done so far. Congratulations to the future. And when I see you at the top of the Grammys, man, nothing but love. Come to the table. We go get some chicken tendies on me. So
you feel me?
on me. So shout out, man.
I love it.
Absolutely. And for those who are watching home, please support my brother. Give him a follow on his social media. Check out his music. Put it on your playlist. We'll also have him added to our DITD radio. We put all our dope artists on our YouTube channel. We have a DITD radio, so we're adding you officially to the playlist. Please, please, please support. And we end every episode the same way. It's all about peace, love, unity, and respect. We out. This peace. Deuces.